You're listening to the Overcast, your joke-making, fun-having pop culture podcast, brought to you by Oversoul Gaming. Hello there, everyone, and welcome to the Overcast. I'm Justin.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Brooksy.
And together, we're bringing you sunshine on a cloudy day.
Yes.
And, it actually has been kind of sunny out here lately. The weather has jumped up to the 40s, so people are jokingly calling it a heat wave in light of what we've had recently. Although...
I call it false winter, or false spring.
Yeah, I mean, for being end of January, beginning of February, it is kind of a heat wave.
Yeah.
But then the temperature dropped back down again. Today was cold, so, yeah. Hasn't been really much else besides that. But I will tell you all this much. Although there haven't been a significant amount of things going on in my life in particular lately, I will say that I hit a weird stroke of bad luck incidents recently that just kind of one after the other. Only two of them were directly revolved around me, but one of them...
Who did you piss off?
...affected me. I don't know, man.
The universe.
You know what? I think, maybe it is some kind of karma, because there was one day at work that out in the lobby, I found $20 on the ground, and this was after a huge group of high schoolers came, like a busload of high schoolers came in and ordered a bunch of stuff. And this was like after there was no one else out there. It was the calm after the storm. I went to go use the bathroom. I go walk around a bit. I look down. There's $20. I'm like, I mean, we're all struggling. I'm like, look, they're long gone. I don't know. Finders keepers at this point, right? Like, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
It's like those kids probably came from another town, honestly. They were here for a football game against the other high school. That's why they were on a bus.
That makes sense.
So, like, what am I supposed to do at this point? Turn it into the greedy corporation I work for? They can add it to their yacht fund? I don't think so. I kept it, but now I'm thinking I shouldn't have, because so the first thing that happened to me recently was I got attacked by a neighbor's cat while trying to do my laundry.
Oh no.
This was like, have you ever seen that? This was the biggest goddamn cat I've ever seen. We're talking like Garth. It was bigger than Mufasa, I shit you not. And
oh Jesus, okay.
Yeah, I know. And it was all white. I guarantee you its name was something ironic like Tiny or
Fluffy.
Snowball.
Fluffy.
Yeah, it was huge. It wasn't even fluffy, though. It was just genuinely fat. Like, huge, humongous cat. Like, I almost thought it was like a pregnant female. But no, I guess it was a male. He didn't like me. He didn't like me being up on the second floor doing my laundry, though, which I prefer to go up there to do it, because that it's bigger washer. You can put more in it, and
that makes sense.
And I get my laundry out of the dryer. I come out there. I see this cat waltzing up, and I've seen it before, and it usually just walked away from me. And I'm like, oh hey kitty, and I go to pet it, and it hisses at me, and I'm like, oh never mind. And then I start backing away, and it does this like weird like, almost like tongue clicking noise. It's like grok, 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 grok. I'm like, what is going on? And then it just starts coming at me, and like, have you ever seen that news footage video, or that we're not even at the good part yet. Have you ever seen that footage of that guy backing away from a mountain lion as it like slams its paws on the ground and starts like dragging itself towards him?
Yes.
This is exactly what this cat was doing. 100%.
The real question is...
It screamed at me very loudly, too. Like, that thing was telling me to get... I'm like, all right, that's not a cat. That thing is a demon, and this floor is haunted. There is no... What were you gonna say?
Oh, I was just gonna say the real question is, was that moment worth $20?
Well, we're not done yet, you see. because then apparently one of the empty apartments on my floor, since it's empty, they didn't have the heat on in there. Big mistake, because with the way the weather got out here, it caused the pipes to freeze, and they exploded and flooded that whole apartment. And in order to fix it, they had to turn the water off to our floor for a while. So I went almost a whole day without any working water because of that shit. And that was mostly their incompetence and penny pinching by not turning the heat on in an empty apartment. When, you know, at the very least, you have to have the water dripping or something. You know, you can't let that sit in below 0 temperatures. Your pipes will freeze. So, and that's why they tell you that. That's exactly what happens. So that one, not really on me, but still affected me. Although it affected everyone on the floor, so it can't. But then today I get home from grocery shopping and carry in almost everything with no problem. But I end up dropping the milk, and I've dropped milk before, and it's been fine. But this particular carton, and it was the Great Value brand too, yes, this particular one decided it wanted to be weak, and that one spot where there's like a very thin circle drawn on the side of the jug fucking popped out like it's a fucking punch-it thing, and the milk just spilled all over the ground outside.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man. So.
Oh man.
Yeah.
That's.
but.
You pissed somebody off.
All of these things happened in between this recording and the last one. So.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but at least I finally had something to talk about in my life updates. Although I do have, I do actually have genuine news though. Now I can actually officially share it. I'm gonna be an uncle.
Congrats!
That's so exciting! Congratulations.
Yes, Dalton's pregnant, and by Dalton I mean
so
his
happy
wife.
for him.
No, my sister-in-law, Dalton's wife, Lindsay, is pregnant with a little girl who they're gonna name Ren. So
nice.
Yes,
that's a very pretty name.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes,
that is awesome.
Yep, and I think me and my brother and sister all knew that if any of the three of us was going to have a kid first, it was going to be him. So
yeah, that tracks.
We pretty much, like, I have zero intention whatsoever of ever doing so. So yeah, I'm glad somebody did, at least, so my mom can have a grandkid. Because it wasn't going to be me. But you know, yeah, with me you get grand kittens. That's about the best. You get grand cats. That's the best you get. You know. Yes. So, outside of that though, I'm going to do my usual little thing. This is where I like to throw in my as everyone knows and loves, cue the jingle. It's time for Oversoul's SNL updates. Yeah. So since the last time we recorded, there's been 2 new SNL episodes hosted by Dave Chappelle and Timothy Chalamet, and oh my god, both of these episodes were wild.
For you. Oh my gosh, yes.
So first of all, Dave Chappelle, I've had problems with him because of his anti-trans rhetoric in his stand-up on Netflix. However, this episode redeemed him in my eyes. I wouldn't say it completely, but like he did a 17-minute monologue in the beginning of the episode, breaking SNL records, which is the record he held, by the way, for longest monologue, his previous one being 16 minutes. So he broke his own record by a minute. And yeah, it felt like a short episode overall because he took over so much of the beginning. Those monologues are usually like 10 minutes at most,
Mhm.
but like that man did a whole stand-up bit. Uh which the stand-up comedians usually do. They usually do give them more leeway for that. But he got real with it too. Like he touched on some serious subjects, and he admitted that he's trying to turn over a new leaf. He's tired of being controversial. It didn't feel like a bit. It felt genuine when he said it.
It did.
You know?
It really did.
That's really
and
awesome.
and he made really good points about, I mean, he still threw some jokes in there here and there. He was like, he was like, as soon as he said that they called him to do the post-election episode because he usually does those. Everyone remembers the first time Trump won, Dave Chappelle hosted that episode, and he did a whole Walking Dead bit with his Chappelle Show characters. And it was hilarious. One of the best things I've ever seen on SNL. He did bring back some Chappelle Show characters for one skit in this one, the balloon popping one. It was pretty funny. But yeah, in this episode, he did this whole bit about, like, he compared Trump to Jimmy Carter and said that Jimmy Carter was a real man because he like walked through enemy territory and stuff like that, and they cheered him on. And like he had a message for Trump right at the end of it, telling him to do better and be better. And like I felt it, but he did. One of the funniest things he said was that he refused to do the post-election episode. That's why they got Bill Burr for that instead. And then he came and he agreed to do this one. And he said, the moment I said yes, LA caught on fire. So he was like, I might be cursed. So, and he still threw a couple of funny jabs in there, a couple of gay jokes and stuff, but it's nothing like his usual stuff. He was like, you could tell he was trying to hold back a lot. So, and be more serious for the most part. And that, I really appreciated that. And then overall, yeah, we had a really good episode,
Yeah.
And then the Timothy Chalamet episode, though, oh my god, that's one of the most unhinged episodes I've ever seen in my life. It's kind of like they just said, fuck it, and just like, whatever, like, just do whatever you want, because it's how it feels. Timothy leans so well into this. Like, he could be a legit comedy actor. He absolutely nails, every time he hosts, he nails every role they give him. Every character he plays is super believable.
Mm-hmm.
When he called Michael Longfellow that, like, what did he say? You lanky-armed, twig-ass Twilight bitch or something like that.
Yes!
I was on the floor dying. Because just hearing him, yeah, it was, yeah. And, like, the best thing they did, though, is that they brought back animated skits in this episode, and this was one about like God and his angels creating stuff, and the way Timothy Chalamet voices God like an emotionally stunted frat boy, and it's fucking hilarious.
Yes.
The whole animated short feels like it would be right at home on Adult Swim. It was.
Oh, absolutely.
It was so perfect. The angels are sitting there talking about like the photosynthesis process, and then God comes in and erases all of it, and he's like, yo, check it out, dickbags, watch this, right? So I'm thinking big ass mountain full of fire, and then it like explodes and shit, and everything goes everywhere, and it's like it is like absolutely hilarious. He's like a total douche, and the way they play it, the crude animation, it's so perfect. One of the
so
angels
good.
is like, you know how we made it so that when humans do that thing that make babies, it feels really good? He's like, yeah, what about it? And she's like, well, we found out that if they do that with their hands, they get the same results. So, and he's like, all right, well, we're just going to tell them not to do that then. Problem solved. And she's like, okay, well, what if they still do it? And then it zooms in close on his face. It gets all serious, and he's like, straight to hell forever. And then it cuts to the next scene, and I lost it. The editing, the comedic timing, the way he voices him in that skit is absolutely perfect. This might be one of the best Timothy Chalamet hosted episodes, and he's been there, like, I want to say at least 3 times now. So, yeah. But yeah, I just want to say props to both of those episodes. Solid. I'm gonna give the Dave Chappelle episode a solid 8 out of 10, and Timothy Chalamet's a 9 out of 10 because those were both really good.
Two more
Episode.
times, he'll be part of the Five Timers Club.
Yes, yes, he will. Dave Chappelle's almost up there too in the Five Timers Club. He should get like I think one more for him. So,
Okay.
but anyways, yep, that's it for me. Life updates and my brief SNL recaps.
Yeah.
What's going on with y'all? Who wants to go next?
I'll go. So been to a few hockey games since the last time we recorded. Um, the January 19th game was country music night, and there was a free post game concert from country music star Dylan Scott. That was pretty cool. Um, they had every year they do a country music night. This year was Dylan Scott, and they usually have a jersey with the country music star's last name and a number of their choosing on the jersey. Uh, the last 2 years, including this year, Sarah's brother ended up getting the Dylan Scott jersey, and he got the Mitchell Tenpenny jersey last season. Um. So that, yeah, we didn't stay for the whole concert because we had to be up early the next morning. Um. That game went into overtime, and then after overtime it went into a shootout,
Oh,
inevitably delaying the concert. So we barely even got to see like maybe half an hour of the show. I'm sure it went on much that was a busy night. That parking lot there was people parking on the grass.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah, no, country night is the game to go to see the Iowa Wild because where else can you see a big name country music artist for free after a hockey game? It From what I did get to see of the concert, I am keeping my fingers crossed that next season they happen to get Jelly Roll. Fingers crossed. One can hope. That would be so fucking cool.
That would be really
Um,
cool.
hell yeah. Um, either Jelly Roll, or I wouldn't be mad if they got because Post Malone decided to go country too, and I've been listening to his country album, F1 Trillion.
It's honestly pretty good, and it's
It
weird that
is.
he gathered so many country artists like it was an Infinity Stone album of just the
It
best artists that have ever existed.
it was fucking good.
Like Billy Strang's even got on it. That was the wildest thing to me.
Uh huh. But no, like I, I'm I did a thing yesterday when Sarah and I went to last night's game. So Sarah has dropped me from her season ticket account, and I have signed up on my own. I signed up for a full season VIP in the attack zone. There's a reason for this because there's some of the events that they have for Iowa Wild 365 members that they give out certain like special gifts for the accounts, but it's only one per account, not per person on the account.
right,
So
right.
I set up my own account and I did the 21 games VIP for my daughter. I got a nice welcome email from the Iowa Wild 365 team this morning, actually. Another really big thing that has happened, I put in my 2 weeks with my current employer
That's
because
awesome.
I I've been trying to get in with this company since 2019, and I will be getting back into not I won't be working for UPS, but it'll be work like what I was doing at UPS.
Okay.
And this company has great retirement plans. It, the benefits are amazing, and it's career status. I could see myself retiring from this company.
It's a distribution center.
It's the National Distribution Center.
Okay. Gonna be
Yeah.
gonna be handling a lot of packages, are you?
Yes. Yes. I am. Yeah. I'm excited. Finally, something career worthy. I finally.
That was the wrong response to the innuendo I made. Oh boy. You,
Wait, what did I miss?
You completely obliviously deflected. I made an innuendo that you obliviously deflected and then said you were excited. Here, we're gonna rewind. Alright, here's the series of events. I said distribution center, you said yes. I said, oh, you're gonna be handling a lot of packages, are you? Innuendo. You yup. And then 5 seconds later, I'm excited. Excited to handle those packages, are you?
Yes.
Yep, see? Now he's just gonna own it.
Yes. I have no shame.
Oh. Well, you did say you
that's-
relate to Angel Dust the most, so.
I am super excited. Like, this is something that I could see myself retiring from.
There you go.
That's really
Long-term.
awesome.
Yeah, I'm fucking excited. 'Cause the starting pay is decent and it only goes up from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why I just said that like Jar Jar Binks. That was not intentional.
Okie day. Okie day. So as you two know, Girl Scout cookie season is upon us.
I already have
Yes.
6 boxes in this house. I'm aware.
my my daughter is going to be selling Girl Scout cookies.
Okay.
I have a little girl. Do you think I'm not going to put her in the Girl Scouts to get Girl Scout cookies?
That's right. You go out there, you little entrepreneur, and sell those cookies.
Nick over here exploiting child labor for his own gains.
Hey, listen.
No, never.
The question is, which cookie is it that you're really forcing your kid to bring to you?
The tagalongs and the do-si-dos. Peanut butter is life.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's my favorite. I will say, I don't know, because I know they are kind of different regionally, and this is the first time I've gotten cookies since moving to California. They're called peanut butter patties here, and it's like they're not the same. They're not the same.
Are those the chocolate peanut butter ones, or just the regular?
They're
the peanut butter sandwich ones.
They're the chocolate peanut butter, so essentially like what a do-si-do should be. But it's like 90%.
Those were the tagalongs.
Or tagalong. That's what I meant. Tagalong. But I got them and I was so excited because it's my favorite cookie and I took a bite and I don't know if they changed the recipe or if it's different in California, but it's like 95% cookie and 5% peanut butter on the inside, and I am not about that because I love the 50-50 mix. I took a bite. I was like, no, not even close. We got to move. I'm not about this.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I feel your pain. Oh my gosh.
I like
Yeah,
I like the Thin Mints and the Samoa Joes.
Yeah, those are Sam's favorites, are the Thin Mints and Samoas. So we ended up getting 6 boxes, 2 Thin Mints, because I do like the Thin Mints. I am that person who likes to pop them in the freezer. Um, and then same as a big Samoa person, I'm just not a big coconut person. And then yeah, the peanut butter patties. I don't know. I'm still mad about the name. Um, those I guess are mine.
I'm the coconut guy here. Neither of you like it. That's fine. That's fine.
More for you, man.
I picked up a box of drink mix stuff, Great Value brand earlier today because it was a new and interesting one I hadn't seen before, and it's the flavors are mermaid, unicorn, peach ring, and cotton candy, and it's like those Crystal Light drink mixes, but store brand. And the mermaid one is a mixture of pineapple, coconut, and lime. So very tropical,
Yeah.
which I like. I like a lot. And the unicorn one is like berry and watermelon mix. So, which I also like. And then the other two are self-explanatory. The peach ring one tastes like those gummy peach ring candies, and the cotton candy one is cotton candy. The schnozberries taste like schnozberries and all that.
Yeah.
All right.
Interesting.
Well, how's life in the Flaming Glens?
Exactly how you described it. It's been a unique couple of weeks. I know big, headlines that everybody's seen for the past month or so has been the LA fires. But San Diego actually had, I want to say we had like over like a 5 day time period. I think we had a grand total of like 6 different fires. Um, and it started up about 25 minutes north of me in this area called Fallbrook, Lilac kind of area. There's a big fire that started up there with some high winds, and I had one that was about like 7 minutes down the road from here. That was like a 5 acre one. There was a really large one that was right on the like. There's a city south of San Diego called Chula Vista. That's like the border town between United States and Mexico. And there was a huge brush fire that ended up, I think, was like 7,000 acres. Fortunately, no one got hurt in it. It was just in like a just huge brush area. But because of the high winds and the amount of fires that were happening, I ended up losing power here for 2 days. Yeah, I think 2 days was the longest time I've ever gone without any kind of power in my entire life. And I kept joking to my wife, who is a huge avid camper, and I am someone who enjoys glamping. I kept saying, I was like, it's just like we're camping. Like I don't have internet, I don't have my TV. Like I mean, I have a bed, but like I mean, I'm really roughnecking it out here right now. Um, it was a unique. It was yeah. It was a weird couple of days. It sucks to have to like throw away all of your groceries that you had stocked inside of your fridge, and most of the stuff in the freezer was okay. Some things I had to throw away. So that happened. Other kind of major life update that had happened, and I don't mean what.
Real quick, I have something about the fires.
Yeah, what you got?
Not so fun fact. It's crazy to hear all these different stories of people's experience with it because I know from other podcasts and stuff I listen to that famous Let's Player Markiplier and comedian actor Andy Samberg were both among celebrities that had to evacuate their homes.
Yeah.
They
Oh
didn't
no.
they didn't lose them. They didn't lose them. They're back home now, but they did have to leave for a bit. Like
Yeah.
Mark's podcast went a whole week without episodes, and they usually do 2 a week because he wasn't able, he wasn't home to do it. So
Yeah.
yeah, and but I do know that some celebrities did lose their homes, like Carrie Ellis, who plays Dr. Gordon in the Saw movies and is mostly known for Robin Hood Men in Tights. He lost everything.
Yeah.
I
Ooh.
heard.
No,
unfortunately.
Palisades. The Palisades fire has been incredibly rough. That's the one that's over in like the Malibu, northern Hollywood or northern LA-ish kind of area. That fire for just so y'all know, like LA fires, LA is about like a 2.5, 3 hour drive depending on traffic from me. So it was one of those things. It's like I know people that are in the area. I have a friend that lives in West Hollywood that was in the evacuation warning area, but never had to fully evacuate. That we had checked on quite a bit. One of my close friends, she's originally from Calabasas, which is pretty close to where the fires were at. She had a couple people that ended up needing to evacuate. I believe both of their homes were okay in the end. But yeah, it's been a rough January. The past 2 years, we've actually gotten an immense amount of rain in January, and this year we've gotten we finally got rain last Sunday, which put out pretty much all of the fires that we had in San Diego, or allowed them to be fully contained. So yeah, it's been rough. We're finally starting to get some more rain. Like we get rain, I think, in like 3 days, and then a couple days after that. So hopefully we'll stop seeing breaking headlines of new fire that's happening in California.
Right.
Speaking of disasters, um, the the helicopter and airplane collision that happened a few days ago out in
Oh
DC.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
They this last night was the military game, the military appreciation game, and they did a moment of silence before the game uh, for those lives that were lost.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Wor- World's
I
weird.
have a lot of thoughts on that incident, but we won't get to them on them. We won't get into them here because then
No,
it'll lead to like a 7 hour pseudo political conspiracy rabbit hole. That
yes,
yeah, there's a lot going on behind that is more important than people think, and that's
Yeah.
all I'll say about
yeah,
it.
But yeah. Outside of that, not to continue down the kind of sadder tone of life updates or anything like that. We unfortunately we had to say goodbye to my roommate's cat last weekend. His name was Laszlo. He was 14 years old. He had been having some serious like congestion issues, and he's had them for years, but it just got to a point where he genuinely just like couldn't breathe, and quality life was getting pretty rough. I know I'm new to this podcast and I haven't shared enough about my personal life for people to know everything about me quite yet. But I've always I've always hated cats. Like genuinely, like they scared the crap out of me, and a big part of it is as I was growing up as a kid, my mom told me I was allergic to cats and that cats hate humans, so I was terribly afraid of them for the longest time. And then, my roommate of the past 4 years moved in with my wife and I, and she had two cats, and Maggie. Don't really see a whole lot. Not a big fan of me. Not a big fan of him. That's fine and all of that. Laszlo, on the other hand, was like a dog that was trapped inside of a cat's body. Was attached to my hip like nonstop from I think within the first few months of them moving in. Um, I've never been around for a death of an animal before. Like I had two different animals growing up, but one was at my dad's house, and it was just like I saw my dad every other weekend, and then I came over one weekend, and my dog wasn't around. My dad was like, "Hey, this is kind of what happened." The other time I was in college, it was my mom's dog, and I wasn't around for the end times. So this is the first time I was around something like that. Instead of doing a instead of doing like the bringing them up to the vet and kind of taking care of things and all of that, there's an organization here in San Diego County that someone comes to your house and introduces himself, talks about the entire process, and that way the pet doesn't have to be in a unusual setting that typically comes with a lot of anxiety and fear and all of that, and was able to leave this plane in their own home, surrounded by loved ones, by their brother, by our dogs, and
That's
it was a really hard, but it was an incredibly beautiful moment. I miss that cat dearly. I miss Laszlo immensely. That's been really that's been the really big life update for me, which I know is not a happy one, but I will say I'm happy to know that Laszlo lived an incredibly loved and happy life, and I'm incredibly happy to know that he's not suffering anymore like he had been for the past several months, but really this past couple of weeks. So, not to be a bummer or anything like that.
my condolences.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah.
It,
It's
it was
always sad when any animal passes, but I'm a huge cat person, so especially them.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Again, like I've never liked a cat. They've always, no offense by any means, kind of creeped me out. They're just kind of lurking in the corner, gonna do something. I don't know what it is. Um, but
That's part of
ha-
their charm. Like
yeah,
little Ezios.
yeah, like little like little Ezio's. No, Laszlo's
I know.
different, man. He uh he always just like he anytime I would get on the couch and like lay down, like he would immediately like curl up in a ball right on my chest and just pass out or want to play like he was the only cat that I ever knew that like genuinely wanted to play. And he made me now, even still, even with him gone and everything, anytime I ever wake up in the middle of the night to go like grab a glass of water or anything, I always have my phone out and my flashlight on because he would have this habit of doing zigzags in between my legs while I'm trying to walk in the middle of the night, and he would have his
Yeah.
zoomies at like 3 in the morning, and I'm like, dude, you're gonna break my neck. Like, I love you, but please stop. um, no, man, he was the best cat. He really was. Like, I miss the guy quite a bit.
Yeah, I'm
I believe
convinced
it.
one of these days Snuffles is gonna slit my throat in my sleep with his murder mittens, because he likes to lay right on my chest and lay his paw right on my neck. And
Mm. I made multiple jokes with the woman that came over to take care of Laszlo and all of that, because we have I should say we now have a grand total of 4 animals in our house.
Mhm.
Allie's other cat, Maggie, and then my wife and I have 3 dogs. We have a big old lab pity mix named Fitz. We have a corgi named Turbo, and we have a pug named Anubis, or Newbie is what we really call him most of the time. And I love them all very much, but Turbo's 13 years old. 13 years old. We found out about 4 months ago he has congestive heart failure.
ooh,
Fitzwilliam, he's 12. He got confirmed to have a malignant tumor on his back end that we had surgically removed, and they said the surgery went as successful as they thought it could, but they think that the cancer is still in him. And Newbie, and I never would have thought, looking at a pug as like, you're the healthy one, you need to keep your shit together. But never thought that. But he's 7-ish, somewhere around there. He's got a collapsed trachea. Um, and he
Oh
also and
no.
he also has a heart murmur as well. And so, like, I always make the joke that this is Brooksy's hospice care and palliative center for animals, because of just everyone's ancient and has something going on. And whenever the woman came in and, like, introduced herself to Laszlo and to us and everything else, and was explaining
Mhm.
the process, and we went through everything and took Laszlo to the car and all of that. I just kind of looked at her and I was like, if we've got four other animals and they're all pretty old, you got like a punch card or anything like that? And my
Damn.
my wife looked at me. She was like, "Really? Now of all times?" I'm like, "Listen, if I don't make jokes and laugh, I start crying, man. This is how I deal with it. Okay?
Four cremations and the fifth one's free.
Yes. Oh
Oh,
man.
I love it.
Man.
I love it. I hate it, but I love it.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah. No, the thing about cats is they all have very distinct personalities. No two are going to be the same. You're going to have a different experience with everyone you come across. Some of them will love to play. Some of them will love to sleep. Some of them will be very cuddly. Some of them will be like, don't touch me. Some of them will love to be picked up. Some of them will hate it. Some of them will be, sneaky. Some of them will be upfront. It's completely, they're all just so weird,
Yeah.
You can so easily tell any one cat apart from another because they're all so distinct. Even if they look alike, their personalities will tell them apart.
Yeah.
And it's
Okay.
yeah, I love it. They all have different quirks and stuff. Like I have one cat that likes to lay on my chest, one that likes to lay at my feet. They get jealous of each other if one of them gets too much attention and the other doesn't. They're basically children, in a lot of ways. Cats
It's a
are
constant fight every night with Nibbler. Before I put my daughter to bed, she will find her way either in her room, under her bed, or on top of her bed. And trying to like tonight, I was able to get to her on top of the bed by picking her up but I got her she jumped down onto the floor, tried to go under the bed before she could. I grabbed her by the scruff
Yup.
because it's it's a constant fight.
Cats are basically children that don't like being told no that you can't punish.
Yeah.
Like that's what
You're
it
not wrong.
is. So
Yeah. That's
that's
the
why they
easiest
say
way to put it.
you don't
Yeah.
own cats; they own you.
Yeah, that.
Yeah. And they choose their owners too. Cats are very particular about who they imprint on.
Mhm.
So, have you heard of the cat distribution system? Usually, if a stray comes waltzing up to you, it means it's yours now.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Well, all right. Speaking of distinct personalities and all that, we also have very distinct tastes, and with distinct tastes comes reviews for things that we've seen. So unless anybody has anything else for the life updates, I say we transition to that media corner.
Let's mosey on over.
I'm here for it. Let's go.
All right, everybody, here we are at the media corner, the part of the show reserved for news, reviews, recommendations, and sometimes previews. And in this episode, I've decided completely arbitrarily that Nick's gonna go first.
Oh. Oh, okay. I was not expecting that. Okay.
You're up, buddy.
All right. My media corner entry is a movie called A Man Called Otto, starring Tom Hanks.
Okay.
I had never seen this movie before.
America's Dad.
Yeah, America's Dad. And Sarah's like, there was a song that was playing on the car on the way home and I'm like, what movie is that? She's like, it's a Man Called Otto. I'm like, what's it about? So long story short, Otto is a very grumpy old man and hates life and wants nothing to do with it. So he tries to unalive himself different ways every day, and every time he is stopped or interrupted.
Real life Rick Sanchez. Damn.
Right. Dude, this I'm not going to go into detail of why he's so grumpy, because that would be spoilery for anybody that hasn't seen it, that wants to watch this. If Tom Hanks as the main protagonist in this film isn't enough to get someone to watch this film, I don't know what is. Dude, I laughed, I cried. This movie, I was so invested in this film. It was so good.
When a young family moves in nearby, he meets his match in the quick-witted Marisol, leading to a friendship that will turn his world around.
It's a beautiful film.
Oh, John Higgins is in this. That's
Yes.
Steve Higgins' son, and he's one of the members of Please Don't Destroy, the writers on SNL.
Mm-hmm. This was a really, really good movie. I highly recommend it. For
Yes.
me,
Oh.
I'm gonna give this a 10 out of 10. Not just because I loved it, but because I think this won some awards.
On IMDb, this movie got a 7.5 out of 10, and on Rotten Tomatoes, it has a 70%. Okay. That's not bad.
It was a really good movie. It's a dark comedy.
Yeah, I see that. It's being listed as a comedy drama.
Yes,
So.
I laughed, I cried. It was so good.
Also, apparently, it's a remake of a 2015 Swedish film.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I had no idea that even existed until now.
This version came out in 2022, so mostly recent. Still, not that less than 5 years old. Okay, I'm intrigued. I'm gonna have to give that a watch.
It's a good one.
A man called Otto.
A Man Called Otto. Yes, it is such a good film,
starring Thomas the Hanks Engine.
Woody.
Yes, actually. Okay. I take it that's all the more you want to say about that.
Oh yeah, dude. It was really good.
It's one of those. I'm gonna take that as the less I know going in, the better.
Yes.
Recommendation.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Brooksy.
Yeah. For my media corner, I have played through and beaten Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, which I was incredibly excited to see not only be announced but shadow drop during the developers talk for Xbox. Um, I am a fan of the Ninja Gaiden series. I would not say that I am a super crazy diehard fan because I know there's a lot of people that really love everything that Team Ninja comes out with. I did play Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma on I think it was my PS3. And then I also played Ninja Gaiden 3 as well. And I loved Ninja Gaiden 2. Wasn't the biggest fan of Ninja Gaiden 3. And I figured after that having kind of mixed responses, and I wasn't a big fan of it. I never thought to see that Ninja Gaiden would like truly ever come back and continue. But as we all found out recently, that Ninja Gaiden 4 is confirmed to be releasing, not just confirmed, but for this year in 2025. I had a blast with it. I really, really enjoyed kind of coming back to this full-fledged from the ground up remake of Ninja Gaiden 2. And I want to point out, I know that there's a lot of like odd kind of ends to the Ninja Gaiden games where there's like Ninja Gaiden 2, there's Ninja Gaiden Sigma, there's Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, there's Ninja Gaiden 2, and there's a couple other iterations as well. Um, and it's really just kind of basing it off of like the level of content and what's inside of it is what I've come to realize. Because as when I was a teenager, I had no earthly idea what that meant. I just saw, hey, cool action ninja game. Black, yeah, and that's literally what I looked at it as. There is Ninja Gaiden, and then there's also a Ninja Gaiden Black, and Black is what the developers called the fully completed and kind of like unrated version of the game where it was a lot more graphic and violent than the original Ninja Gaiden. And Ninja Gaiden 2 Sigma was considered as like the like diluted version, which I had no idea about. Like I remember there being blood, and I remember it being just like a true like action hacking slash, like very like a difficult Devil May Cry, is what I remember of the game, and being
Hmm.
like, yeah, I'm here for this. Ninja Gaiden 2 Black, it was definitely much more violent than than I personally remembered. Where I'm like, I don't remember just like when you say hack and slash, like tearing these people into little bits and seeing every tiny drop of blood. It was
Oh,
awesome.
like
It was a lot
classic,
of
like
fun.
the older God of War games.
Yes, very much like the older God of War games in that respect. I There is difficulty settings for these games where you have like play mode, which is considered like easy. Essentially, it gives you like added benefits. Anytime that you're low on health, there's normal, there's hard. Which I believe is called Way of the Mentor, and then there's Way of the Ninja, which is very hard. And then once you beat the game on any level of difficulty, you unlock the essentially like the Death March version of it, which I believe is called Way of the Master. I played it on the hard difficulty, so not psycho mode by any means, but no, I didn't do the normal level on it. And I will say it was challenging. It was much more difficult than I remember it being, and it wasn't because of like overly wonky mechanics or anything like that. I will say, since it is an older game, it does not have features that I am more accustomed to when you're playing a challenging action adventure game. Things like locking onto characters does not exist in Ninja Gaiden 2. So it's really just like
Oof.
kind of how you angle and point your character. You do have full camera movement, so you can do full 360, which is nice, but you can't lock onto specific characters, which is kind of frustrating. But at the same time, when you have 20 something characters all coming at you at the same time, it's hard to kind of choose which one you're going to specifically go at. So I understand why. Um, it was a beautiful from the ground makeup or remake. It played incredibly well. I believe this game is at 60 frames per second, which
Oh,
I
this is
played.
a remake, not a remaster or a
This is a
port.
yes. This is a full remake from the ground up, which is why it was so impressive to see them not only announce but shadow drop a full remake of this game, and it looked
Damn.
gorgeous.
Okay.
It looked gorgeous. It definitely still plays like that older 360 PS3 kind of era of gaming where it's like a little chunky at times, but it looked great. It looked really, really impressive, especially again for something getting dropped out of nowhere. Traditionally, I am a PlayStation person, but I do have an Xbox Series X as well. And it came out day one on Game Pass as well, which is what I played it on. Um, I really enjoyed it. I will say, like the difficult aspect. Like I really think that if you're someone that enjoys hack and slash games, like a Devil May Cry, try it. Try it on story mode because even the normal, from what I understand, is pretty difficult in of itself. But the combos are a lot of fun on it. It's got that kind of like that like God of War 3 where like you've got your light and heavy attack and the specific combos you do does specific aerials and all of that stuff, which is so much fun. The story itself, like your Devil May Cries and all of that, it's kind of lacking in like substance and drama and empathy, all of those kind of things. It doesn't really hit the mark on those kind of things, but that's not what I play it for. I play it for the the chaotic combos of being able to get to like 150 hits in a sing without being hit once. You've got, about I think 9 different weapons that you can choose from. I traditionally, I stuck with the staff for the majority of what I was doing, especially when it was dealing with like large groups of people. It really helped just being able to do kind of like, and it was almost like an AOE without it being an AOE when you're dealing with like large groups of enemies. But if I was dealing with like a few really large enemies or a boss, I would switch over to essentially they had like a great sword that I would play with, or I would use the giant scythe was a lot of fun to work with as well. Um,
Nice.
yeah, it's very simple as far as like
Giant
there's what's that?
Giant Scythe was also a very fun weapon to use in Dante's Inferno. Speaking of
Yes,
God of War.
yeah,
Yeah.
it very much kind of like that as well. Um, and there is like very very the most mildest RPG element in the sense that you can level up each of those weapons. It does change the look of the weapon too, so as you level up it looks cooler as well. It looks more metal. Like it really only goes from like you start at tier 1, you go tier 2, tier 3. There's a couple items that have a fourth tier that you just unlock as opposed to using any kind of like money or coins or anything like that on it. The one thing I will say though, no, and it kind of feels like it on no matter what difficulty from what I've seen online, um, this game does not this game does not respect you. It does not respect you in the slightest bit. I don't consider myself a get good player by any means. I've played most Soulsborne like light games. I am the person that's punched in well over 200 hours on Elden Ring. I've platinumed it, and I even beat the DLC on New Game Plus 7. Um, and all of that being said, like there are just certain moments where I'm like, this is bullshit. This is bullshit, and I'm getting so mad at this game. There's a specific part, and I won't forget it. It was you're kind of walking through some snowy area, and it's the only part of this game that it happens. You're walking through the snowy area, and all of a sudden it like kind of does like a slow mo cutscene for a second to let you know that you're about to walk into an active minefield, and it's all covered by snow, and it shows you like the little tiniest little track to try to walk through it. And even when you try to walk on that track, you're getting blown every 2 seconds by a freaking mine. And where a mine just blew up, if you step on that same spot, guess what? Apparently, it's an infinite level of freaking mines in every single spot because you're just going to continuously get blown up. And I'm like losing my mind because I'm losing health. I'm getting attacked by other people. I'm just flying around back and forth, getting hit by mines. And my roommate walks in. He was like, "Man, you really suck at this, huh?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna lose my shit on you, brother, if you don't walk out." Like, um, but even with the frustrations, and it just comes even with a remake, it just comes naturally with some older games. There's just some like slight wonkiness things. It was a lot of fun to return to this world. Um, and I guess like for me, like my official grading, and I am fully aware that I am I'm a harsh grader on things. I do give I do give this a 7.5, despite me talking so highly of this, because when I think of anything that's an 8, like that's like a genuinely like a great game, and this was it is a great game, but it does have its flaws to it. Um, I really enjoyed it, but it was one of those like it's not a long game. It's only 12 hours long. 9 hours if you're good, I guess. Um, and I finished it, and the credits had rolled, and I was like, that was fun. I just want to play 4 now. All this felt like for me now is like this was just like a nice tasty little appetizer for me to get myself ready for Ninja Gaiden 4. And I was very excited about Ninja Gaiden 4 when it was announced. Now, having played through 2 and kind of being re-immersed into the world, um, I had a blast with it. It still came with its wonky mechanics and everything else, but it was a really good game. Not a great, but it was a really good game.
Speaking of Devil May Cry, did you see the trailer they put out for the anime for the Netflix show?
Not only did I see it, but did you hear what was playing while the trailer was happening?
Yes. Of all things, they chose a Limp Bizkit song, you know, or as they call them in the UK, Limpy B.
I did not know that that's Limpy B. That makes me want to break stuff. There's your dad joke for the day.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought that was funny, but some people were like, that was a weird choice for that. Why didn't they choose one of the new metal songs from the games, you know?
Yeah.
Instead, I'm like, oh, yeah, I can see it. They've already done fan-made remakes of the trailer with songs from the games playing over instead of that. So, but it looks good. All right, though. On the note, though, of Ninja Gaiden and stuff that's free day one on Game Pass, did either of you watch the Xbox Developer Direct that happened a couple weeks ago?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I missed out on that.
Okay, you didn't do the rewatch.
No, not yet.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I already have a few things already pre-saved from the direct.
Me too. I'm staring at my TV screen right now, and Expedition 33 is pre-installed.
Yeah, Expedition 33 and South of Midnight. Those are the pre-installed ones for me.
I want to tackle the big thing first, though, because it's a perfect segue from what you were talking about. The main big thing is that they announced Ninja Gaiden 4, and, you know, like you said, those OG games, even the remake of the second one, are really hard, and, you know, I had trouble getting into them back in the day because of that, but the Ninja Gaiden 4 has something different about it compared to its predecessors. Well, several things. One of them being that the setting definitely feels a bit more cyberpunk, but also there's a secondary protagonist a la Devil May Cry, and this one is being developed by Platinum Games, who are known for Nier Automata as one of their big ones, and Astral Chain, among other things. I think they might have also done one of the Devil May Cries. But I'm not 100%. They might have done DMC. Either way, though, they are known for this kind of combat style, though. Like, Ninja Gaiden is a perfect jumping in. Oh, Bayonetta, that's what they did. Bayonetta is basically also Devil May Cry style gameplay. So, but I would actually argue that Bayonetta is more accessible than Devil May Cry.
I would agree with you on that.
It is a little bit easier. There is a heavier focus on dodging than there is on blocking in Bayonetta. And you have magic powers with your hair and shit. So it kind of like adds more to it. But yeah, they are. So this one, Ninja Gaiden 4, I'm actually genuinely interested in because Platinum Games is doing it. And I think the fact that they are doing it and that it's coming out in a time where accessibility options in games are more common, that it might actually genuinely be easier than its predecessors. And that is going to be both to its benefit and its detriment.
Yeah.
Because that's going to bring in a new wave of fans, but it's also going to piss off the purists. And there's actually already people complaining about it because of the new protagonist and shit. But that happened with Devil May Cry too. People were resistant to Nero and Virgil at first as well.
Yeah, but five was really good. I really enjoyed 5.
Yeah. So this is what I'm gonna go into cautiously optimistic. Hope it, and they said that it's supposed to be like a new entry point for fans, because this wasn't just a bunch of trailers they showed. This was like 5 games that they took the time, or like 4 games that they took the time to actually sit there and talk to you about the process of making them and what you can expect from them.
Yeah, it kind of gives me that feeling of like it's similar mechanics between like going from like 1, 2, 3 into 4, but it kind of feels like what God of War did whenever God of War 2018 came out, where it's like, hey, same person, same universe, but we're this is a brand new arc, and so I'm really excited for those that have never played this played this franchise to kind of be introduced to, Ryu as the character themselves and the world and everything else, and just it's. If you're a fan of things like Devil May Cry, if you're a fan of things like Bayonetta, that very like stylish hack and slash old God of War style, you will really enjoy this. And I feel like you're right with the developing team that did things like Bayonetta and Astral Chain, that it will not be as get good-ish as its predecessors.
Right, right. Before I move on to the next thing, though, just doubling back a little bit because I forgot. I don't think you're on an island with your Ninja Gaiden 2 Black review because I just peeked at Metacritic and the meta score is 81. So
Oh, I'm not far off at all.
no, your rating on a 10 scale on Metacritic would be a 75. So yeah, not far off at all. And the user score is 7.3, 73. So
Oh yeah, so I'm right in between the two. Okay, cool.
yep. So so yeah, Clear Obscure Expedition 33. There are several reasons I'm excited for this. First of all, I didn't know this game was being made by like a small studio that just like kind of just popped up, that just like started with like 3 people. I didn't realize that this was a small project because it looks like a big one, you know. I have a lot of thoughts about this, but primarily I love, first of all, that it's a turn-based RPG with that classic Legend of Dragoon hit the button at the right time to do extra damage mechanic that gives it more of a real-time flair. I love the story, and before, originally I thought the story was like, oh, a witch paints a random number and everyone of that age dies, and that's what they had us thinking at first, but this video goes into more detail, and it's actually, the stakes are even higher than that. The witch, apparently by the time this story comes around, the witch appeared like 60 years ago or something like that, and has been painting a number every year, and every year everyone who is older, like that number or older, passes away, and every year the number goes down. The number goes, yeah, every year the number goes down, so now they're all the way down to 33, and that's why the game is called Expedition 33, because it features, I think, a bunch of 33-year-olds who go off on an and this is not actually the first time they've done this either. Apparently, these expeditions started years ago, but the whole point is that this group of people goes out into the wilds to hunt down this witch, to kill her, to put a stop to this killing group of people every year, because eventually, if this keeps going, it's going to be down to nothing but children left. And then they're next.
Is this a choice-based game?
No, it is a open world RPG akin to classic Final Fantasy games, all the way down to where they even have an overworld map. So when you leave a town, the camera zooms out and you're on a big map that you're walking around of, and random battles can pop up out of nowhere, that kind of thing.
This sounds
like
interesting.
very classic.
No, I've been so excited about this Expedition 33 game.
Yes.
They announced it like that this game was being developed, I think 2 years ago, and then it was last year's Xbox showcase that they had done. That They gave like the first full trailer to it, and as soon as I saw it, I was like, yeah, this is candidly, that Xbox showcase, between that, the Fable announcement, South of Midnight, is the reason why I currently own an Xbox. And as soon as they showed the Expedition 33 trailer and had finished, I literally looked at my wife and I was like, yeah, I'm buying I'm buying an Xbox.
It's worth mentioning though that this game is not going to be exclusive. It is coming to PS5, which was announced the same day. However, it will be free day one on Game Pass.
That tracks.
So everything they showed at this thing is free day one on Game Pass. So this being one of them. So the big thing, so in this game, you follow a party of, I want to say like 7 or so people that are Expedition 33, a whole diverse cast of characters and the whole point is, this isn't some like grand hero's journey. This cast of characters that are going out on this expedition to kill this witch and put a stop to this whole thing is everyone from like noblemen to young teenagers to criminals to it's a whole group of people, a colorful cast of characters that is completely morally ambiguous. They promise this is going to be a dark story, a mature story, with a morally ambiguous cast of characters. And in a lot of ways, from what I've seen so far, it reminds me of a Xbox 360 classic called Lost Odyssey, which was also a turn-based RPG. And when Lost Odyssey came out, it was around the same time as Final Fantasy 13, and a lot of people pointed at it and said that Lost Odyssey was a better Final Fantasy game than 13 was. Ooh. And that's what 13 should have been. I have a feeling that people are going to point at this and say that it's a better dark fantasy than Dragon Age Veilguard.
Yep. Oh, go ahead.
They're going to point at this. They're going to point at this and say that the tone and maturity is what that game should have been.
Yeah.
I kind of feel it coming.
Yeah, probably.
What I was going to say is I really think Xbox themselves has quite a bit of faith in Expedition 33 alone. Because I was just like scrolling through online. IGN had reported yesterday that Expedition 33 is actually going to be getting a full movie adaptation, and the game hasn't even come out yet.
Oh, holy
damn.
shit.
Okay.
Yeah, and they've already announced that what is it? That Charlie Cox will be a part of this movie as well.
Brief side note on that. Simu Liu, the guy who played Shang-Chi in the Marvel movies in the MCU, who plays Shang-Chi, I should say, because he's still part of this. He's trying to get a live-action Sleeping Dogs adaptation off the ground.
I've heard about this.
Yeah.
Sleeping Dogs is so good, it's basically Japanese GTA.
Fair.
Yeah, it's got a lot. It's basically Grand Theft Auto meets Yakuza in a lot of ways.
Okay.
It's one of the most underrated games I've ever played. It truly, like, people need to check that game out somehow, some way, when they get the chance. But yeah, Claire Obscure Expedition 33, very, very high on my list. I love turn-based RPGs. There's a huge call for turn-based RPGs to come back. That's why Metaphor was so popular. That's why Octopath Traveler was so popular. People want this, So, people miss when Final Fantasy was turn-based. A lot of people don't like this shift to action focus they've done over the past couple entries. So... yeah. These games appeal to them. I'm them. I genuinely like Final Fantasy 16, but I want more of this. The other game they showed, South of Midnight, is also very high on my list because I learned from this video that, first of all, this is a kind of semi-open monster fight game, kind of not really like Monster Hunter, but you have these really big cinematic boss battles in this game. It's basically like a action adventure game, and it takes place in like southern folklore, which I think is really cool. I like anything that's based in folklore. So all of the monsters that you're fighting, like the giant catfish monster and the alligator monster, they're all legit creatures, like cryptids and shit from southern folklore.
Okay.
Which I think is really cool. And the game, the reason the animation is the way it is because the game has the option to turn on and off stop motion animation feature, which basically, if you turn it on, the whole game will run at a lower frame rate so it looks like stop motion, like Robot Chicken or Spider-Verse.
Interesting. Nice.
Yeah. And so, but you can turn that on and off at your leisure, because I saw a lot of people when they saw the video for it, they were like, oh, the frame rates drop so heavily. Like, no, you idiot. That's intentional. Pay attention to what they're saying in the video. Like, it's a stylistic choice. It's a feature you can turn on and off. It's not a bug. It's a feature, goddammit. So, yeah, in this one, it's definitely intentional. And I have a lot of faith in these developers, and I think this is actually one of the games that is being developed by one of the developers that was showcased on one of the women-led games co-streams from the Game Awards and Summer Game Fest. Yeah. So yeah, that one is also high on my list. Like I'm very interested in that. Pretty much everything that they showed at this, I was like, yup, yup, yup. And then the last thing they showed was Doom Eternal, which is a prequel to the newer Doom games. You have Doom 2016, or not Doom Eternal, sorry, Doom the Dark Ages.
Hmm.
You have Doom 2016, and then you have Doom Eternal, which is a sequel to it. This Doom the Dark Ages is a prequel to both of those, a prequel to the remakes. And they said that the gameplay is going to be different this time. They said the 2016 Doom was all about run and gun. The Doom Eternal was about a lot of platforming, jump and shoot. This one, they said, is going to be more stand your ground and fight. You know, you have a shield, you can throw your shield at people. It's very like it's medieval mechanical tech based.
Okay.
Hmm.
So it's like a mix of steampunk and medieval, sort of, with
I,
a
I,
metal soundtrack.
I personally can't wait to get inside of one of those mecha robots and start fighting giant monsters. That's what I'm really excited about.
Well, and the thing that really appeals to me that's different from the other two Doom games. First of all, since this is a prequel, they said that you can start with this one and not have miss anything, you know, because the story of this one comes first. But they did say for those who have played the other two games that there will be some things in there for those people to appreciate as well
Nice.
that they threw in there for them. But also, unlike the other two Doom games, newer ones, this one, the story is actually going to be delivered in cutscenes instead of like lore documents and shit. So, you know, less Dark Souls, more Uncharted in
Okay.
the story presentation this time, which I love. That is my preferred way to consume a narrative in any game is through cinematic cutscenes.
Yes.
I the only time I'm okay with a story being presented in documents and audio logs is in stealth-based horror games because because reading about what happened before you got there is scarier than actually seeing it. You know, seeing the aftermath of everything that came before you got there in games like Soma and Outlast and having to imagine what happened before you got there based off context clues is my preferred way to experience psychological horror. But that only works in that setting for me. It does not work in the Dark Souls games because it makes me confused about what the fuck's going on.
Mhm.
And I get frustrated because if I can't get into the story, then I don't care.
Right.
you know? And I don't like it in anything else because it doesn't. There's cutscenes are a reward for the gameplay. God damn it! I need something to break up the monotony of repetitive shooting. You know, I need I just got done with that. Like I play RPGs like Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts. I'm used to struggling through long, like grueling boss battles, just barely making it by the skin of my teeth with the health bar flashing at me, and then being rewarded with a 40-minute cutscene for my efforts. You know what I mean? Like I love I love that kind of stuff. So I am super super happy that they are giving us they're feeding us the narrative through cutscenes and like cinematic storytelling in this one. That makes me want to play it even more as someone who was only mildly interested in the other two. You know, arena shooters were never really my thing. I didn't grow up on Doom like everyone else. I grew up on strategy games like Age of Empires and StarCraft. So, and classic Final Fantasy and Legend of Zelda. So, but yeah, I I think a lot of people are going to really like this one. So far I've seen pretty much nothing but positive reception for what they've shown of Doom the Dark Ages. So I know you said you're looking forward to it too.
Oh, me? Yeah, no. You said Doom: The Dark Ages, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I played through all of Doom, thoroughly enjoyed it. Doom Eternal, I had played over at a friend's house. At that at that point, my wife and I started dating, and first-person games make her a little dizzy to watch. And when something is as like high octane and chaotic as like Doom or Doom Eternal, even though Eternal's a little bit slower. I never played through that one fully, just out of respect of like, hey, I know this isn't really your jam or anything like that. I did tell her though, I was like, yeah, Dark Ages, it's medieval. I get to hop inside of giant robots, and I desperately want to play this one. She was like, that's cool. I'll go read in another room while you're playing that one.
Yeah, because I mean, well, first person is one thing too, because you can have first person games that still have slow cinematic camera pans, so it's not
Yeah.
as bad. Doom is an arena shooter, so that shit's all over the place
Oh
and it's
yeah.
fast.
Yep.
It's like VR fast,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's um like yeah, I swear that camera is moving like at 120 frames
Yeah.
in those games. So yeah, it's definitely all over the place. It's the kind of like they put some Doom games in VR, and I could never play them in VR because they're too fast. And
Yeah.
it's just like I'm not the type that normally gets sick in VR games, but those games made me Doom. I tried a Doom VR game that made me nauseous.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I am definitely interested in this one. So and I believe that was all they showed. So, yeah, they just put a heavy focus on each one, and I am very much looking forward to all of them, quite frankly. Um, Xbox might have a good year this year. We'll
Yeah.
see what happens. But with all that being said, I think that right there makes a perfect transition into this episode's topic.
Yeah.
Betting apps right on your phone. It's easier than ever to turn your passion for sports into cold, hard cash.
All right, everyone, here we are at this episode's topic, and this episode's topic was actually Brooksy's idea, so I'm going to let him explain it.
Yeah, so I know we've talked a lot about how I am here in California, but I am actually born and bred out of Texas. I played football for about 13 years, and over the time, I got into fantasy football for several years. And I was thinking how fun it would be to kind of do that, but in a video game setting. And this idea partially was just a little bit of a harebrained idea. Partially, I do want to give credit where credit's due, where a similar kind of idea has happened over at the Kind of Funny Games cast. But I thought it would be fun to basically do a fantasy game draft where each of us have our own team. Each team is going to have a total of 8 players or 8 video games. Now, we are currently, right now, as of today, on February 1st, very early into the year, so not every single game has been fully announced to come out in 2025 that we'll hear about later on. So for today, what we'll be doing is we're going to each be picking out 6 games that will be our current starting roster. In a sense, those will be the 6 games that have been fully confirmed to be releasing in 2025. The only kind of limitations to it is that we're going to avoid anything that is a port. So a given example is I know Spider-Man 2 just got ported into PC. We would be avoiding things like that, as well as like definitive, makes of games that either came out recently, um, or are just a rehashing of something. Um, Something like Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition when Xenoblade came out just within the past couple of years. Um, we're going to go in rotation, which is going to be handled by the one and only Oversoul, which is going to be a fully randomizer. Rules as far as this game goes is once a game has been selected by a player, no other player can choose that game to be on their roster. Um, if a game that has been chosen ends up being delayed from 2025 into 2026, you'll be able to replace that game with a different game, just confirm with the entire group, so that way we're fully aware. Um, fantasy football is scored based off of performance of individual players. So the way our teams are going to be scored is off of individual games, which we will be utilizing Metacritic for. We are going to be specifically just looking at the professional reviews. We are not going to be accounting for the user score because, as we all know, with games like Dragon Age the Veilguard or The Last of Us Part 2, people get upset for no real apparent reason, and that should not falter on our team's overall score. As I know, we talked about the 6 games that we're going to be choosing today. The other 2, which will be bench, are games that have not been announced yet for 2025, fully confirmed. Once something has been fully announced for 2025, we have our own separate podcast group chat, and it's kind of a first come, first serve, I call dibs scenario with it. So once a game has been fully announced, we'll just text each other in the group chat, hey, I call dibs on, let's just say, Mario Kart 9 that's been teased but has not been confirmed. That'll go to that person. And once that slot has been filled from the bench, they will not be removed unless, of course, they get delayed into 2026. Any questions that either of you two may have, or anything that you feel like I should try to clarify more on?
No.
Nope, I got it pretty much. For the audience though, let me do a TLDR recap, just so everyone's on the same page here. Basically,
my brain's about to hurt.
We're TLDR. It stands for too long didn't read, Nick.
Oh.
Yeah, it's called I'm paraphrasing. Okay. We're using
okay.
yeah. Yes, I used internet slang to say paraphrasing.
Oh.
Okay. So yeah, looking at a list of games confirmed to come out in 2025, we're each going to pick 6. Each game can only be picked once, so if somebody picks one, then another person cannot pick it. We're going to look at their Metacritic scores, revisit this topic next year, and see who had the most points based off of total Metacritic scores of the games that we picked. And then, yes, we have contingency plans in place if something gets delayed or whatever. We will change up our roster, and if that happens, we will update listeners in subsequent episodes during the life updates or whatever. We'll revisit that section. And to decide who goes first every round, I have a completely random Wheel of Fairness where I hit the spin button, and whoever it lands on goes first that round. So I think that basically covers it.
All hail the Wheel of Fairness. All hail.
Yes. I'm kind of stealing some jokes from Distractable, but anyways, though, I think that basically covers it. So, and then of course you said there's a benching section, so technically we're all picking 8 games, but the bench is for games with unconfirmed release dates.
So my thought process for it is because there are certain things that have not been announced. It's really once a confirmed date has been announced, you can essentially call dibs, like in our podcast group chat that we have, of like, hey, this game just got announced for this year. I want this on my team. Cool, and then that's it. We can always talk about like what we hope for our teams 7 and 8 to be during this podcast, and periodically throughout the year we can talk about like, oh, like my life update is I just chose my 7th player for the team, or I chose my 8th player for the team, and it's this game that I got announced. I'm really excited about it.
Okay, so there are so basically we're choosing 6 here and now, but then all 3 of us each have 2 extra slots that we can throw other games in before this time next year, once
Correct.
They have confirmed release dates for this year.
Right on the money.
Okay, so those are reserved spaces, so when something gets a confirmed release date, like say at the Game Awards or something this year, we can message the chat and be like, such and such just got a confirmed release date, I'm putting it in one of my bench spots. And then
yeah, exactly.
once somebody does that, no one else can.
Exactly. So, like, let's say, like, hypothetically speaking, We've got the Nintendo Direct that's going to be coming up in April about the Switch 2. That's going to come out with Switch 2 titles for the release. And once they announce those, we can just text in the group chat, hey, I want this for my 7th slot. And then it'll be added from there. So that way, we're picking what we know will be coming out this year or what we've been told will be coming out this year, but still have wiggle room for all of the other tons of exciting games we don't know quite yet that are going to come out this year.
Right, so taking turn picking 6 now, like a team captain picking their teams.
Yep.
for dodgeball, but then the rest of the year keeping an eye on what gets announced and trying to be first come first serve for those extra spots.
Yep, you got it.
You catch all that, Nick? You got that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Alrighty then. All right. So with all that being said, then I'm gonna spin the wheel once I get the screen recording started on that. There we go. All right.
I appreciate the transparency on that.
It'll be the visual will be on the video version of the episode. All right, because there's no way to put it in the audio version.
That's fair.
All right, hitting the spin button on that wheel now.
Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Oh my God, that was some Wheel of Fortune bumfuckery. So it almost landed on me. And then it kept going just a little bit, and it landed on Brooksy by a hair. So
yes.
So
I get my pick of anything.
So for the
Ooh.
first round, Brooksy gets first pick, and then it'll be me, and then Nick. We're going in order
I'm scared.
We're going in order
Alright.
of podcast joining, so it is that makes me 1, Nick 2, and Brooksy 3. So it wraps back around after that. Instead of going in reverse, it just goes back to 1 from 3 to 1. So if Brooksy goes first, I go second, Nick goes last. And in that same pattern, if Nick goes first, Brooksy goes second, I go last, and so on.
All right. Well, I don't mean to be the basic person that's going to pick the basic answer, but I want to win, and there's been just so much hubbub about it for years, decade, even at this point.
Oh,
I am going
no.
to choose GTA 6
God
as my
damn it.
first pick.
Oh,
I am going to pick my Tom Brady, and I am not going to be ashamed about it. I really don't feel like
Oh.
I need to delve too deeply as to why I chose GTA 6.
I may have misunderstood something then. So these don't
Yeah.
have. So is that confirmed for this year?
It is confirmed for a
it is
2025
confirmed.
release.
It's in quarter 3 or quarter 4. It's going to be in the fall. It has a fall release date, but the release date has not been confirmed.
Yeah, as long as it's
I'm not a gambling man. I'm not a gambling man, but I'd be willing to put money on that being delayed. So I didn't
And
even
here's the
consider
thing.
it. I didn't even think about it because it doesn't have a confirmed release day. I was thinking of games with release days, not just the year.
And that's the
I didn't
thing
know.
it's full year. So I mean, even something like, not to help anyone here, but something like Borderlands 4 that's been confirmed for 2025, but we haven't had a full release date yet. Rockstar, they haven't delayed an immense amount of things often. I do feel like with the amount of anticipation and excitement for this, I do think it'll still come out this year. There's still a lot of amazing games that are going to be announced this year, so I still know that if it does drop off, I still feel good about my year, but I might as well hit the juggernaut if I have the opportunity to hit the juggernaut, and I'm going to go with GTA 6 as my first pick.
God damn
Right.
it.
And for the audience sake, I think we should probably explain too here, because if it wasn't obvious from the rules being set up, if you're trying to win, this isn't about picking what you're looking forward to the most. This is about picking what you think is going to get the highest critic ratings.
Yep. And that's the thing. I am very excited about GTA 6. I did put quite a bit of time in GTA 5. I've played GTA 4, San Andreas, Vice City. I've played, I think 3 is the very first one Vice City is the first one I played, but I played 3 as well.
5 was the first
enjoy-
for me.
Yeah, I really enjoy the GTA franchise. I really do. Is it the thing I'm the most excited about this year? No. Do I think that this is a game that is going to be critically acclaimed? Yes, which is why it's going to sit comfortably in my first spot.
Fair enough. I guess that makes it my turn, and I have a feeling I'm about to steal another one, probably from both of you, because this is such an obvious pick. It's so obvious that I can't believe this wasn't your first choice, honestly. Monster Hunter Wilds.
See, Monster Hunter does well every release they have. Like they're always in the 80s. Like it's a solid choice. I think it was like of like my preferred list. It was like third, fourth, somewhere around there. I don't blame you though. It's gonna do good numbers on Metacritic.
Oh man, I did steal that. Okay.
Yeah, you did. You did. It was on my
I mean,
list.
I had a feeling it was gonna be on somebody's. Nick's talked about looking forward to it. It's one of Ryan's favorite franchises. Monster Hunter is big. People love Monster Hunter.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I knew that was gonna happen. I don't need to say anymore. If you know Monster Hunter, then you know Monster Hunter. Quite frankly, All right, Nick,
Nick.
your first pick.
So I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm going to Empire 33.
You mean Expedition 33?
Expedition 33. Yes, that's my first pick.
Yeah, that was on my list, so that
It was
been
on my
stolen
list
from me.
too.
Yeah.
That was on my list. That was my number 2 choice.
He didn't take the other thing on my list from that.
Yeah,
that thing, so
that was my number 3, and so this next roll is really gonna see if I'm upset or you're upset.
I agree with him though. I agree with you, Nick. I do think that this is going to be a critically acclaimed game because of its callback to classic Final Fantasy style gameplay and stuff. I have a feeling I have heard some critics though give the preview a little bit of guff on on the graphics and stuff, but I'm like, it's a small team. You gotta give them some leeway.
Yeah.
So, okay. Now that we got that first round out of the way, we both have our first picks. I have to spin the wheel again to see who goes first for round 2. All right, here we go. It's me this time.
Dang it.
So it's me, then Nick, then Brooksy this time.
All right. Go ahead and say it out loud.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this smart. I'm playing my 2 biggest hands right away here. The rest of my options are probably gonna be a bit more risky. But I'm gonna go ahead and say Doom the Dark Ages.
Really? You know what? Honestly, with how well received Doom Eternal was, like that, it was on my list. It was it was like 5, 6, somewhere around there. But Dark Ages, man, that's a great choice.
Okay, I have the feeling then if that's not, did I steal that from you? Because if I didn't, then I definitely know what your thing is now.
Yeah, well, you definitely know what it is, but it was
Okay.
It was another one.
Nick, that means you're next.
Okay.
You get second pick this time around.
Yeah. I'm gonna be that guy, and I'm gonna go with Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Oh,
Really?
I
That's bold.
I agree with him though. It's gonna be hated on by audiences because DEI, but critics are gonna love it.
Yeah. I just, man,
the hands-on previews so far have said that it's
have
some of the
been really,
best
yeah.
gameplay in the series.
Yeah, I get it. I do, and like they were smart by delaying it into this year, really polishing it after other announcements and everything else. Like it makes sense. It really does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
It could go
Alright.
that one though. That one as of right now, it's Schrodinger's assassin. It could go either way.
It really
Like
could.
it's sitting on an Occam's razor at the moment, and it really is. It has the potential to be either loved or panned by critics. Like it's
And you have to think like the last like samurai-esque game that we got was Rise of the Ronin, and that left a really bad taste in everyone's mouth. So I feel like this is going to be well received.
right. Yeah, and well, games that get not always, but a lot of games that get lambasted for diversity generally end up getting positive reviews from critics, almost as if it's in spite of the people that are lambasting it. Like I said, Veilguard objectively didn't deserve 8s and 9s, but a lot of publications were giving it that, and I think it was mostly as a way to uplift the representation aspects of it
Yep.
in midst of all the culture war stuff.
Those
You
those
know.
goddamn DEI games.
Yeah. So in a way, it's almost like because I almost wanted to do the same thing. I almost wanted to give it a high score just to piss people off, but then I was like, no, I'm gonna be honest. So, with how I feel, anyways. That's not to say that they weren't honest with their experience. If someone subjectively had a 9 out of 10 experience with it, they're entitled to that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right.
But that did not work for games like Dustborn and Concord. So,
No.
or Suicide Squad.
No.
So, what's your second pick?
For me, I am genuinely shocked that I actually have this as my second pick, and I'm really excited about it. I am going to go with Split Fiction as my second choice on my roster for this year. Same developers as It Takes Two, which we all know won Game of the Year in 2021. A Way Out prior to that did well as well. I think it was in the higher 70s, lower 80s area. This game looks awesome. This game looks like a lot of fun. We don't get a whole lot of side-by-side co-op games, and I think it'll stand out for that. And yeah, I'm gonna go with Split Fiction as my second choice.
All right, that is a good option. Hazelight Studio games have all been solid bangers so far. Honestly, you have to dig very hard to find any negative opinions about Brothers, A Way Out, or It Takes Two. So, and It Takes Two was a Game of the Year winner on top of it.
Yep.
It brought people together during the pandemic.
No, it was great, and I will say Split Fiction. This is slight biasness for me, as in the sense of like this is one of my most anticipated games for 2025. And I just think that this game will equally, in the same breath, be critically acclaimed as well.
I can see that. I have some. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it myself. All right, we are gonna spin for round 3 now. And here he goes. Wow, it really is the random wheel of fairness. Nick, you're first this time.
Oh, okay. I already have my pick.
It's been completely random and fair.
Yeah, I already have my pick, and I have
Yeah.
a reason why, not just a bias.
Okay.
This I mentioned it to you guys before, during our break, but WWE 2K25. I'm excited for this for for a few different reasons. One, it's a game I get every year. Two, this game is going to be doing things no other WWE game has ever done before. It's taking you outside of the ring. You're going to be able to go through the story of the bloodline. A lot of people have been begging for this. Me personally, I thought we were going to get a Bray Wyatt cover, but Roman Reigns is a good pick too.
Okay.
The bloodline as a whole is a story that it's cinema basically, and it's good quality entertainment.
Well, WWE 2K24 had an 81 critic score, so
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess you're in okay. The audience score, however, was 6.6, so I can see why we're not counting them.
Right. Yeah. No, this game has so much potential, and as soon as I'm able to afford to, I am going to get this
Yeah,
because
and it looks like
the deluxe edition is scheduled to release on March 6th this year. It's confirmed. That is the date on the PlayStation Store.
yeah, and it looks like there's a little bit of a hot streak for them too, because even 2K23 had an 82 for their Metascore critic score. Honestly, it's a smart choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brooksy, your third pick.
Ooh, okay. So, because this is hard, because do I go with something that I know for sure is definitely going to be coming out this year, or something that's been announced for 2025 but may not come out this year? Um, I'm a big, you know what, I'm go big or go home kind of person. I'm gonna go with something that was a 2025, but no quarter release date quite yet. I'm gonna go with Ghost of Yote as my third choice for this year. It got announced last year for a 2025 release date. Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch has always done really well. And Ghost of Tsushima, highly acclaimed. It's considered a PlayStation staple at this point. I'm very excited to see what Ghost of Yote has to offer, so I'm going to put that as my third choice.
Okay. You know, I didn't even think about that one because, again, my brain is almost exclusively on games with confirmed release days, not just years. And I keep forgetting that we have a bigger playground than that to play in.
Yeah,
But maybe choosing the ones with confirmed days is part of my strategy.
you know, and that's the
You
thing.
might.
That's why I was like, it's a high risk for me to choose two games that say 2025 without a confirmed quarter. Um, you know, and so because it means I could very well have two things that drop off, but those were the two games that were kind of like the tangibles, like they should come out this year, but there's a possibility they don't. But again, we have a brand new console that's coming out this year. We have a lot of games that have not been announced yet. We don't know. We could have something a total wild card moment of something like who you know what is it, like the Witcher 4 gets announced for this year. Highly unlikely, but it could happen. So I you know, I'm hoping it works in my favor. It very well could not, but it's again, it's that high risk, high reward that I'm looking for right now.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes it my turn, and before I say mine, because I'm a little confused about how we can handle this one, how are we how would you handle episodic games in this scenario? Would it be
Like a Telltale kind of game?
yes, because my game releases in two parts that are a month apart each. So am I supposed to pick one half or the other as a game on its own,
Oh,
or
that's
do I
hard.
do I do the whole thing combined and hope that they do a cumulative review of it instead
I
of
would
reviewing both parts
you know,
separately?
I feel like and I would love to hear y'all's input as well on this. I feel like the best case for this is to call both part one and part two of this as one game, and we just add and divide by two the overall Metacritic scores between both games. I feel like that kind of makes the most sense if they're a month apart and it's
An
just
average,
one,
yeah.
That would
yeah,
make
like
most
average
sense.
the
Yeah.
two.
So, like, if it was a Telltale game and all 5 episodes came out in the same year, you would take the individual score of each episode, add them together, and then divide that by 5 to get the average.
Yeah, I feel like
Okay.
that makes the most sense.
All
Would you
right.
agree
Well,
with
in
that?
that, Yes, I agree with that 100%. That's fair. And in that case, so it depends on whether or not they review part 1 and 2 separately or whether they review them together as a whole.
Hmm.
But my third choice is Lost Records Bloom and Rage,
I don't
which
even know this game.
it's the next game from Don't Nod, which
Okay.
they're harkening back to their original Life is Strange roots for this game. It's a very 90s esque, Telltale esque choose your own adventure game with mild paranatural elements.
Okay. All
Um,
right.
from what I can tell. And there's like a lot you'd have to look up the trailers for them. I think we've seen some of this during Summer Game Fest or something last year. I know, Nick, I remember this being like on your radar after we saw it
Mm-hmm.
as well. So
Yes.
yeah, so I highly recommend looking it up if you have any love for Life is Strange, because Deck 9 does Life is Strange now, but Don't Nod did the original, and they went on to do Vampire and Banishers Ghost of New Eden. And this is their next game, but this game, unlike their previous two, is going to play more like their first game. It's going to be
Okay.
one of those narrative-focused, dialogue choice-based games, with a very similar art style to the original Life is Strange as well, actually.
Okay.
So, yeah, Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. Definitely look it up. It is,
I'm excited
looks
for
like it's
it.
going to be good. Yes. Okay. Gentlemen, we're already halfway through.
Yes, we
So,
are.
Let's spin that wheel for round 4
All
and
right.
see who. Brooksy, you get to go first for round 4.
Oh wait, me?
Yes, you. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I did not hear Brooksy. I'm so sorry. Oh, okay. Ooh, okay. Man, this is hard.
Yeah,
Because it's like,
the less options you have, the harder it is to pick them.
because it's also like I know this franchise does really well, but I've also heard mixed feelings about the next installment. So do I want to go with that? Do I want to go with what I'm excited about? Because I just care about the games that I care about.
Right. Right.
Um, oh man, you know what? I'm gonna go with a game that I'm personally excited about, and I've talked about it already once in this podcast. But I am gonna go with Ninja Gaiden 4 as my fourth pick. Um, I love hack and slash games.
I would have been surprised if that wasn't on there.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing. Like I was thinking about reserving it towards the end, but I also know, Justin, that you've also been paying a pretty fair amount of attention to this game as well. It is coming from those that made Bayonetta and Astral Chain, which I know Bayonetta has been critically acclaimed across the board. People are really excited about a new Ninja
And
Gaiden game,
Near Automata. That's probably the
and
most
Nier
important
Automata
one.
as well. And you know, I want to say they're going to take it in the right direction. I think with people getting some buzz and excitement with the remake that just came out with Black 2, I think this game. Do I think this game is going to be like in the 90s or anything like that? No, but do I think it's going to perform well and be in the 80s and all of that? Yeah, I do. I think this game is going to be something that people are gonna think that is just a ton of fun. So I'm gonna put Ninja Gaiden 4 as my fourth pick.
Okay. All right. Well, you're right that this is getting harder, and I am trying to think what I should do now. I might. This might surprise some people. I think I'm gonna pick something that I myself would never play because it's in a genre I can't stand. But I do think that it is, because it's in a series that does usually do well, that I think it will probably do well. And I'm gonna put MLB The Show 25 in my roster.
See, I was looking at that because they do really well as well. That wasn't the franchise I was thinking of a second ago. But the show, I have a friend Max who is avid gamer, plays just about literally everything, is a get good Soulsborne player as well. But man, if that person doesn't put in 200 hours a year in the show alone, it's insane. And they're fun. They're not for me, but people love them.
For fans of baseball, it is the definitive experience, from what I understand, as far as baseball video games.
It is. It is a lot of fun. I
And
am a baseball fan, so I enjoy it. It's not a game I'm personally going to spend $70 on.
no, but I'm putting it on my list because I do think it will get good critic scores. that's my strategy there. All right, Nick, number 4.
Like a Dragon, Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii.
Oh,
Yep,
man.
good choice. Good
That's
choice.
a great choice, man. The Infinite Wealth did so well with critics last year, and they're just riding this train, man. Like it's great choice, great choice.
Yeah.
I know someone who their game of the year was Like a Dragon last year. So,
Man,
Yakuza is a pretty popular franchise. I've been meaning to get into it. It's just like
It's-
10 games deep at this point. So
I
It
thought
is,
I'd
like-
grab that one before.
it was
you
that
were
was
smart
one
too
that I was
because
like,
I was thinking about it. Yeah.
I was looking at that as like kind of my like towards the end choices. If it wasn't there, I was definitely going to snag it. That was a great call.
Yeah.
100%. Okie dokie. All right, getting closer now. Round 5. And the go first is... Wow. Brooksy, it landed on you again. It almost went to Nick, though. It was very, very
Man,
close. It was very close.
Really?
Yeah.
Can't believe I'm getting picked again. Okay.
You
know
have
what?
you have no idea how close you were to it not being you.
I can't wait to watch the. I normally listen to the Spotify version of it, but I'm actually gonna watch the YouTube just so I can see how close all of these were.
Well, and also anytime one of us reviews a video game on this, for the video version, I put gameplay footage of it on screen.
Okay, cool. Got it. Okay, man. Okay, so I am gonna pick something that traditionally performs really well. I was gonna pick it last round. I'm gonna pick it this one because I want to make sure I get some solid points. And this is definitely not my personal cup of tea, but I do think that it will do well. I am gonna choose Sid Meier's Civilization 7
Ooh, okay.
as my 5th pick. This game consistently does in the mid to high 80s. I think one game even got in the low 90s. Like this franchise always does really well. I know that there were some complaints from people watching trailers, like that I could overhear people talking about at the Game Awards, being like, this doesn't look like it kind of normally does, but you know what? We'll have to just kind of wait and see. So that's why I was a little hesitant. But you know what? Again, they always do well. It's almost like Flight Simulator. Like it's going to do the same thing every year, and I think that's what I'm going to get from Civ 7. So that's what I'm going to choose as my 5th pick.
Okay. I'm kind of bouncing between 3 different games that come out in March right now. Just because it's so iffy on them, because they seem like the kind of things that are going to do well, but there's no
I
guarantee.
know exactly what you're talking about too, and I'm surprised you haven't picked one of them quite yet. Or at least I know at least one for sure. But I'm curious. I'm curious where you're gonna go.
I was going to pick Killing Floor 3, but I don't think I'm going to now. Killing Floor 2 only got a 75 on Metacritic. And I don't know if this one will be better or worse. So, I'm going to take a risk and pick Atomfall.
I'm not even familiar with Atomfall.
It is a game that's coming. It's a action survival game that is coming to all platforms. It's going to be free day one on Game Pass, and the basic premise is that the protagonist is an unidentified amnesiac that must explore a quarantine zone established in the Lake District in northern England 5 years after the Windscale nuclear disaster to discover what happened in the area. You have to fight against mutated creatures, cult members, rogue military agents, and robots created by the British Atomic Research Division. So think Wolfenstein meets BioShock in a post-atomic bomb wasteland.
Cool.
In a sort of like alternate history thing. Because the Windscale nuclear disaster, or the Windscale fire of 1957, was the worst nuclear accident in the United Kingdom's history, and one of the worst in the world, ranked in severity at level 5 out of 7 on the International Nuclear Event Scale. So that's what it's based around. This game takes place after that happened. So it also, from what I've seen in the trailers so far, it looks very similar in both design and tone to Atomic Heart. If you remember, that also was free on Game Pass like 2 years ago, and was also a heavily BioShock-inspired game. So,
Okay.
It's by Rebellion Developments, who other games under their repertoire include the Sniper Elite series, Strange Brigade, the Zombie Army trilogy, Never Dead, Alien vs. Predator, the 2010 game, Rogue Warrior, the 2007 Simpsons game.
Classic.
Yep. So, those are just a couple of things that they did. Medal of Honor is actually under there, and a couple of Tom Clancy games are also under their belt.
Those are always big hitters.
So, yeah, it seems like the kind of thing that they have familiarity with. It was, I think we saw Atomfall at the last big Xbox conference that they did last year. Like, the Xbox showcase that they did last June during Summer Game Fest. So, it's been on my list ever since. On my radar, anyway. I'm taking a huge risk putting it on my list, because I think it's very niche, but I have faith in it. So,
Hey, listen, niche sometimes just means that you're going to get less reviews, and they're going to be by people who are passionate about things like that. So, it very well could work in your favor.
All right, Nick, you're number 5.
I'm taking a huge risk putting this on my list. I'm going to play it safe and stick with something that I'm excited for. It's by developer Supermassive Games, Directive 8020.
Oh yeah, is that a 2025?
It's on the list as unknown. It doesn't have a release date, but it is slated for 2025.
Okay, so no release day, but this year.
This year,
tentatively.
yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, this is the first game in season 2 of the Dark Pictures anthology.
So
yeah.
fucking excited.
Yeah, me too, especially after how the curator's story ended in the last game.
Yes.
I need to know where that goes next.
Right?
At this point, I'm more interested in what's going on with him than I am the stories he's telling me. You know?
Yeah.
And The Devil in Me was definitely one of my favorite of that franchise overall so far.
And the Supermassive Games has done a lot of my favorite games. They did
Until Dawn, The Quarry.
The Quarry. No, The Quarry was 2K.
No, The Quarry, published by 2K, was still developed by Supermassive. The Quarry is the spiritual successor to Until Dawn.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yep.
So many good games.
And they also made that spin-off of Dead by Daylight about Frank Castle recently.
Wait, that came out?
That came out last year. The casting of Frank Stone. Frank Castle is the Punisher. Why do I keep doing that? The casting of Frank Stone. Yeah. Yeah, that's out. That's been out for months. And they also did Hidden Agenda, which was a multiplayer game you could play with your phones,
How
make
did I
choices
not
with.
hear about that?
It didn't do well. That's probably why. It did not do well, unfortunately. But, alright. Now for the final round.
I'm gonna laugh if you're like, it's Brooksy again.
Right.
Nope.
I'm
It's Nick. It landed on Nick for
Oh,
the first this time.
Did it? Okay. I'm not prepared.
Final pick.
Still a lot of good games, man.
Elden Ring Night Rain.
Ooh.
Are we doing that? Are we counting DLC and expansions?
No, Elden Ring Night Rain is its own standalone game.
Oh no,
It's...
you're right. You're right. It is. You're right. That's
Mhm.
right. I forgot about that. It's that Fortnite style roguelike Souls game.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
I'm excited. I'm personally very excited.
Yeah, that was
Soon as
probably a safe pick.
I was scrolling. Like, that's a big name. That's gonna draw good reviews. That's a smart pick.
You'll definitely want to throughout the year though, kind of. Well, that I guess that's what the bench is for too, because there's a good chance, like you said, some of these games might get delayed.
Yeah. Well, they're doing the
so-
beta testing for Night Rain between the 14th through the 17th, or not even playtest. They're doing, I think, a stress test on it. So we should probably have that. I'm assuming probably by summer of this year.
Okay. All right. So that it means you're next, Brooksy, for your final pick. Well, your final main pick.
Oh man, there's so many great options left, and I'm not gonna lie. This last choice, just to feel better about choosing Civ 7 this last round, I'm picking something I personally really want to play that I think will be a lot of fun. And I'm gonna talk about things out loud because there's no more rounds after this one. Um, because I'm tossing up. I am personally very excited about Avowed. I love everything that Obsidian's ever done. I am also very excited about South of Midnight. I think that the animation style looks really cool. The concept in general sounds really, really exciting. Um, Mafia Old Country is another one that I'm looking at. The only thing is, I love the Mafia franchise, but it has not ever really been very well critically received. So all of that being said, I'm actually going to choose something that I didn't state, and it's something that I'm actually halfway through the demo right now. I was playing it earlier today, and I actually have pre-ordered it. I am going to go with the first Berserker Kazan as my final choice for my draft.
That was one of the March games I almost picked before I landed on Atomfall.
Yeah, listen, I've played about halfway through it. I was actually planning on having that be at my, if potentially a topic point for Media Corner next session. I really
There is
like
a demo for it out now.
Yes, and I'm halfway through it. It's longer than I thought it was going to be. There's actually, from what I found out, there's two bosses in the demo. I just finished with the first boss. I'm working towards the second one right now. It's got a really cool animation style that is really visually striking. It's almost got like a Code Vein like look to it, which I think is really cool.
Is it a
but
Souls-like? Is it a
it
Souls-like, though?
It is a Souls-like, but I will
God
say,
damn it.
well, hold on, because there's two like when you play through the intro, and I'm not gonna lie, the intro was a little challenging, but once I finished the intro, then it gave me the option between either normal or easy, and so I chose normal because they were like,
okay.
yeah, and it said normal is like it low key just said, you know what you're signing yourself up for, go ahead and click it, and I did, and then the easy is like for those that are traditionally not fans of more challenging styled games, this one's going to be for you. So there is going to be an option for you in the future to have an easier option. And I think that's something that will play in its favor for overall review scores. It plays like Lies of P. And Liza P was pretty well received. I think it's in like the low 80s score overall. It's been really fun. It's been really good frame rates. Like I'm very excited about this game, so I am gonna go with the first Berserker Kazan for my last choice.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? Completely fair. All right, that makes me bringing up the rear here at the end of all of this, and Hello Kitty Island Adventure. No, I'm just kidding. That
It's
would
already
be.
come out. My wife's playing it right now.
Oh, you're right. It came out on mobile. It is. It's coming out on Nintendo Switch.
No, it's
Oh no,
available
wait,
right
you're
now.
right. January. It did come out in January. Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, unfortunately, anything that already came out in January, it's too late for us to pick. No, yeah, you're right. That one did. I was just being funny, anyways. That wasn't my
That's
actual pick.
I'm just playing Hello Kitty Island Adventure.
I'm cutting it very close here, but technically, at the time of recording this, it's still not out yet. It will be by the time the episode, by people are hearing this, but as of right now, it still falls within the rules. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, I think.
Nice.
Because my reasoning is that even though it's a very, very hard game, I couldn't get into it for that reason. It's too realistic. That's kind of the point. But there is a group of people that appeals to it. It's very niche, but the people who do like this kind of thing, from what I understand, they're going to love this sequel.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a Civ 7 scenario where it appeals to the people that really like those kind of things, but it's just not for the masses, but performs well.
Right. Well, and I've heard on another podcast someone who's gone hands-on with it, who is into that kind of thing, have nothing but praise for it so far.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So so we'll see what happens. Some of these are some wide swings. There's some very risky entries on all of our lists, but there's also some very safe ones. This is going to be close.
Yeah. This is
I may task you with coming up with a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
Scenario, just
Okay,
in
cool.
case. So, with all that out of the way, then our benched items are gonna, like you said, we're not picking our benched items now. Then it's just gonna be throughout the year. If things get release dates, then we'll be like, oh, I'm putting that on my bench.
Yep.
Okay.
And equally, I will say, just kind of
Because I'm
as an
telling you
added
right
thing-
now, if Metroid Prime 4 gets a release date, I'm jumping straight on that. 'Cause
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
know people
Listen.
are gonna like.
Listen, I'm literally just waiting for it to say the exact date for like Mario Kart 9, and I'm gonna put in Mario Kart 9. Like I'm every Mario Kart outside of like Double Dash, which was criminal, has always performed really well. And I wanna win. But that's the thing is we're probably gonna get a brand new standalone original story Mario game as well. And think of how well things like Galaxy or things like Odyssey have done. Like I would be shocked if there wasn't another banger of a Mario game about to come out.
Absolutely. Yeah, with every new Nintendo.
Probably due for another really good one.
Well,
Yeah.
we just had Super Mario Wonder not that long ago.
True.
Yeah, that's fair. That was like more like a homage to side scrolling, but just next gen.
You're
But
talking
like
about the next Super Mario Odyssey, though, is what you want to
Yeah,
see.
exactly. The next Sunshine, the next Galaxy, the next Odyssey, like
Yeah,
that's what I'm anticipating to be announced alongside the release of the Switch 2.
with every new Nintendo system comes new Mario and new Zelda.
Yep, exactly.
Mhm.
So I fully anticipate seeing something like that. I will tell you right now though, I am not gonna put my money on whatever the next Pokemon game is, even though I buy every single one and play every single one. They've been so bad. I will say I am excited to revisit them when the Switch 2 comes out, where I'm not playing like Arceus or anything like that on a toaster. And I'm excited to see what it looks like.
Speaking of Pokemon, I know
Yes.
this is completely out of left field and has nothing to do with video games. I took my daughter to McDonald's for dinner tonight, and she got a little pack of Pokemon cards, and one of the cards in that pack was Rayquaza.
Holy
nice.
shit!
Yeah,
A Rayquaza from a McDonald's pack. That's insane.
right.
That's like crazy lucky.
Yeah. She got Charizard in another one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, that's
Oh,
pretty
man.
cool. Well, okay then. All right, well, that covers our 6 picks. I have all of them written down in my notes, so
Yep,
I will
I did
send...
too.
Okay. You have everybody's written down or just yours?
Everybody's.
Okay. So, all right, yeah. I have that too. Nick, I'll send you a copy of my list if you want everybody's.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then we'll just keep an eye on that throughout the year and see how it turns out around this time next year.
Yeah.
So, you know, I have a feeling that at least 1 or 2 of the games on the list that we picked are going to win awards in December.
Probably.
Yeah,
So-
I agree. I think it'll just be fun whenever we're talking about life updates or media corner. We can talk about like, oh yeah, you know, first Berserker came out and it did amazing. I'm so excited to crush you guys. Or oh man, it flopped. I'm screwed. Like it'll be
Fair enough.
it'll be fun to reference this throughout the year as well, and
Yeah, it
periodically
will.
talk about the games that we've added onto our roster throughout.
All right.
An ongoing thing. Yeah,
Um,
this will be fun.
All right, then. Well, with all that being said, I think we're going to go ahead and end this episode. Let me know, folks, those of you who are watching this over on YouTube in the comments down below, or if you're listening to it on Spotify, also in the comments, what games you think are going to get the highest critic ratings this year. And out of the games that the 3 of us picked, who do you predict is going to come out on top with their picks at the end of this? You know, I'd be curious to hear your thoughts. And remember to smash that like button as well. And also, you can email me at podcastoversoul@gmail.com, or you can find me on Twitter at oversoul53. My co-hosts have been Nick, who you can find on Twitter, TikTok, and Blue Sky at TheGamingFiend1, and Brooksy, who you can find at Brooksy My Boy, that's with an I, on Instagram. And, thank you again to our executive producer, Sarah, for behind-the-scenes work and help that she does, to Podsurf FM for hosting us, and to Epidemic Sounds for our music. And until next time, we will catch you possibly on another day, definitely at another time, and likely in another episode. Good night, everybody.
Bye.